Hey, before this video begins, I need you to be aware of something. Some of the images in this video are AI. The person's album covers I'm talking about are AI, and some of the background images I use are also AI. So I want you to be fully aware of that. Stuff like music though, and my voiceover, none of that is AI though. Sorry, just needed to get that out of the way. I'm gonna let you actually watch the video now. Welcome back to my channel. See, today we are going to be doing something different. I'm going to be talking about an artist I once followed and talk about their career and their mysterious disappearance. With that being said, let's begin. So, who is Currencyalmond anyway? Well, let me tell you, Currencyalmond was a small lo-fi artist who used to make some inconsistent music on both Spotify and SoundCloud before he disappeared of March of this year. You may also know him for such songs as Warm Weather, City Skyline, and Downtown Walk. Now I know this isn't like the first time, nor is it probably gonna be the last time you're gonna hear about, people just moving away from the internet, So why talk about him anyway? Simple. I was just a fan of his. I didn't like every song, but every time he made music, I felt like there was some passion behind it. It didn't feel like this forced thing, you know? It did feel like he tried to put effort into it. And just to see that disappear, it kind of struck at me to like really question, you know, was it simply just a departure of interest or was there something more? I mean, that's what we're going to get into later in this video, but before we can get into that, you got to know, where he came from. So, let's get into that. Where does the story start? Let me tell you. January 26th, 2024. That was his first and earliest record of his upload. It would have been City Skyline. That was his first song uploaded to his SoundCloud. And also would have been followed up with Bedroom Space, which was on the same day. And, in that time, some more singles came out, but more importantly, 5 days later, after the original uploading, he made a Spotify account, so people could listen to his music there. And with the start of that Spotify, Warm Weather was released on the same day of January 31st, 2024. And that's basically where like a lot of his popularity started. I mean, there was like he kept semi consistently releasing songs, and people were enjoying it. He did get like at least triple digit views. It was pretty good. I mean, he even pushed over like 2,000 listens, and he had like 300 monthly listeners. Also, I just want to take the time. Downtown Walk was definitely my favorite song. I'm just gonna say that right now. But obviously, this is all in the past because, well, now it's gone. In March of this year, that being 2025 when this was recorded, his Spotify would have been deleted. He had playlists that were gone. All the song tracks that were released were also gone. He never really made a public statement about the deletion of this account. And I mean, many people are just having to ask, like, where did he go? And we just don't fully understand what happened. Whether it was just because he left it abandoned, if he just had to do some other stuff, maybe he just lost interest. I don't know. I mean, this is where the whole of my whole investigation of this comes in. Anyway, really trying to figure out like what happened. With that being said, if you notice the thumbnail, I gave you some questions, and now I'm going to fulfill my promise of answering them. So, what pieces are left behind? Let's just go through it. Okay, Spotify, you have his account, profile picture, and his artist description. But any songs, any like information, like how much listens they had, thumbnails, any playlist you had with his songs, all that kind of stuff is gone. Just straight up wiped from Spotify. So that's really not anywhere you could listen to his music there. But he does still have his SoundCloud. That's still up, though it's not active. Last time it uploaded was of August of 2024. That being time. But since time, it's just been nothing, you know? And it isn't even all the songs. There are seem to be a bunch of missing songs in that, in the remaining list. Which, speaking of stuff going missing, realistically, I don't think he left the internet. I'll just say that. Like, if you really wanted to, like, disappear from the internet, he probably would have deleted his SoundCloud and stuff. But because of that, I just don't think that's possible. And I also don't think that he was, like, probably pressured to take it off the internet by someone for a similar reason. So that does really ask the question, why did he stop? So let's start off with one of the first things. Who removed his content? Personally, I don't think anyone actually is guilty of removing his content outright. Now, Spotify is technically the one who removed it, but I think it was just removed because he wasn't using it. As far as I'm aware, artists have to like pay a fee to keep it up on Spotify. So if he wasn't renewing it, it probably just got taken off the site. And stuff like his SoundCloud, as I mentioned before, are still up too. So that realistically, no one really actively removed his content. So where did he go? Simple answer, I'm not really sure. I tried looking to see if there was maybe some accounts with like a similar name to his. Maybe he branched off somewhere. I don't know. I didn't really find anything. So, you know, having a new account, being in college, I don't know, maybe working a 9 to 5, all those are very equally plausible in this case. So why did he stop? Simple answer, I think he just lost passion for this, really. As I mentioned earlier in the video, he was semi-consistent with his contents, more being in spurs of, just being wanting to do something, right? In this case, it would have been music, but without consistent effort, it never really ended up leading anywhere really great, exactly. Never bad, but never like extremely great. And I'll be honest, he didn't really improve that much overall. It's always been decent content, but never anything that would have blown you out of the park, you know? It's obvious he did care. If he didn't care, there would have been no effort put into this at all. So I just think he just straight up lost passion for it. And it's really unfortunate because, I mean, this is a story you'll probably hear time and time again, you know? It's just, it's not uncommon for people to lose passion, especially when other stuff just, gets in the way of things. And especially focus, you know? You have to focus on other things, or you don't have focus for something you love. So it ends up just falling out of your life while you try and pursue other things, you know? Maybe he went out to do something great, or maybe he went out to do something wrong. I can't say I know. But all I can really say is that, you know, is that he decided that this was the time to stop. He didn't make some big spill out of it. It was just a silent exit. That's all it was for him. And sometimes I think that's fine. Alright, I'm gonna cut to the chase. I've mentioned a bit, especially around the end, about passion. And I really want to talk about it around this point. Where do we go now that he's gone? Simple. Forward. We keep going forward with life. This was his passion, you know? He clearly put the effort, he put the time into this. But when he lost passion for it, he moved on. And that's something that you gotta realize too. That you can't be weighed down by these past actions, you know? You can't be weighed down by thinking about how you used to be passionate about this. If you were passionate for something, put your heart and soul to it. And if you're not, then live. Just keep living on with your life. And that's really what this whole point of this video was at the end of the day. I wanted to point out someone's passion. But my passion for making videos, I spent almost 2 months making the video you're hearing now. I spent nights editing this. This was my passion. And if it isn't, I would have moved on. That's just how life has to go. And for you all, to everyone listening to this, thank you. And I'll catch you later.